Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today I'm making pork chop envelopes with tomatoes, olives, feta cheese, and orzo. Okay, I already have, you're going to need 6 ounces of feta cheese I have here. And we need an onion, a large onion. Now they read cut lengthwise into thin strips. So when they're talking about that, first let's peel this. Number one, you're going to leave where the roots are right there. We're going to cut this top off and we're going to peel this, and then I'm going to show you how they want it cut. Just letting you know what we're doing. See this other layer is getting ready to peel and become skin. Now, I peeled this, but if you take a look, you see here how it's changing? You've got to take that layer off as well. You're going to have to peel it right off because it's turning into a skin, which will make it chewy. Have you ever had somebody serve you an onion and it's chewy and you wonder why it's that way? That's because that layer was becoming a skin. See, the thicker the skins are, that's a sign that you're going to have a cold winter wherever the onion is growing. I don't know where my onions come from anymore. I used to know where they came from, because we had farms. I'm going to have to cut this one off too. Okay. All right. Now you're going to set it down this way and cut straight through like this. I'm going to need a bowl. Can I put it in what else am I going to put in this? Yeah, I might be able to get away with this on a plate. All right. Now the reason you're leaving this here is because we want to make strips of onions, and the only way we can do that is by holding that there and cutting it this way. You see, so we'll have strips going long ways. If you wish, you could do it this way and you will be getting half moons. So I guess you could do it that way as well. It doesn't really matter which direction you go. All right, so because these will be too short for me this way, I might go and make it this way and make them half moons instead. Cut lengthways into thin strips. Okay, well, they'll lengthways, this is what they want. They want them very, very thin. Okay, when you get to the root, you know you're going to have to separate it from there. But try to get them the same size. I'm actually showing you how to do this now. I had to cut part of this onion off. Wherever it grew, winter was definitely very cold. I went through 4 layers. That way I'm trying not to cut myself again. Okay, now that you've cut it, I don't know if you can see it. We're going to cut the end off. Watch what happens. Look at all the little strips you have. See? Let's take them apart. And that's it. You have all these strips. If you don't get enough of the core off, this was a bad winter. Wherever this onion came from, It was bad. I can see the core is still on it. That tells me exactly what it's going to be like. Now the end pieces, you could just sit there and slice them again. You see how the ends are a little thicker? Just slice them, that's it. But anyway, boy, this core went really deep into this onion. Anyway, there's your slices, and that's how you do it. When you come to the end pieces, you might have to just slice them individually. The chefs, they'll cut this part off and not bother with it, but I'm not wasting. That's the whole thing. I want to get as much out of my food as I can. A bowl. Put this into a plate or a bowl on the side, and do the other half just like that. So there are different ways of cutting onions. Usually when they say a half moon, they want you to go in this direction. They want slices like this. This core goes deep in this apple. I mean this onion. Let's see if I can get this core cut off in one shot. I'll go deeper this time. Let's see what I have. Yeah, I did it. If you have a bigger onion, your slices will be bigger than mine. That's fine. It's just that half this onion. A lot of the onions I've been getting, I don't know where they're coming from, but they are not the best. I'm throwing half the onions out. I buy a 5-pound bag and I get 2 pounds of onions because wherever they're grown, they're rotting. Put those on a plate. Where I put my garlic. They say 1 garlic, but I have 2 little pieces that came up, so I'll use both of these. You're going to mince the garlic. Okay, water, I'll be with you in a minute and we'll learn about blanching. Now we're going to need 6 tomatoes. We used to call these egg tomatoes. I don't know what they call them today, but I know them as egg tomatoes. They keep changing the names tonight, saying, well, I've done something. Please, just leave the names of everything. Put that with your onion. I know they want me to put them a few minutes apart, but I'm putting them all together. Okay, we're going to learn the term blanch. Blanch means to just barely cook. Barely cook, that's all you're going to do. Like you blanch peas, you have water boiling, you drop them into that water, they're there less than a minute, and you bring them right out. They usually blanch vegetables before they can them. This is what a lot of people do. They'll blanch them and then proceed to can them. So I'm going to, what do I need here? I forgot my fork. put them in. So I have water boiling in a pot. Let me get this over here. Let's not burn myself. So, tomatoes will explode. So to prevent that from happening, because they're going into hot water, not at this end, but at the tail, you're going to sit there and cut an X in them and put them in boiling water, because we have to skin these. And we're going to seed them and prepare them. We're not even going to touch the pork chops till we get all of this stuff done first, so we can put it all together. So you're just putting X's on their tails, and you will see how they peel. It's always wise to have sharp knives, but do keep Band-Aids around the house. And for the bad cuts, gauze and cloth tape that you get at a hospital. My son ordered them because he said, "Mommy, that was a really deep cut." I said, "I know. It took 2 days with pressure just to get it to stop bleeding." Okay. Now what I'm going to do is put you over here, because some of you do not know when it's time to sit there and take the tomatoes out. And when you take them out, you've got to put them in really cold water, because they're going from the extreme hot to the extreme cold, and that will cause that skin to separate so we can take care of them. So I'm going to put you over here for those of you that don't know how to do this. But remember, when they say blanch, it's usually just a minute. I put the tomatoes in, and I have to wait. It'll come back to a boil, don't worry. But I want you to see, you can see how the tomatoes will peel. It was boiling until I put the tomatoes in it and dropped the temperature. Oh, sorry, I thought you could see my mistake. Next time I make a stock, I'm going to show you how you can sit there and cook the bones, add your peelings to it, and you'll have everything in one container. I've been showing you how to cook the bones down and then can it and call it bone broth, and then I give you the vegetable or whatever broths I'm making. I'm going to show you how I put them together when I want to make just one of them. Things I show you, these are for the new people who really want to learn to cook and don't know how to cook. See how these tomatoes are starting to peel? You see? That's what we want. And then we'll get these tomatoes ready to prepare them for the pork chops as well. Now this dish I'm doing, for those of you that like to cook on an open fire, you will be able to do this on an open fire. People who can't, we're going to do it in the oven. I'm not going out there. Knowing me, I'll burn everything down. Like I told you, there's some things I'm not good at. So I want to show you. You see how those tomatoes are peeling? See how that skin's coming off? Now we're going to go plunge it in cold water. That cold water will cause the contraction, and the skin will just come right off. That's how we do it. So first we have to heat them up. Then we get that skin off and plunge it into cold water. See how they're peeling? I don't know if you can see all of them, but see how they're peeling? That's what you want. So this is called blanching. And you notice they're only for like a minute or two. That's it. So if you see a recipe says to blanch something, that's literally what they mean. Let me get you back over here. And let me see, I want one of these cooler ones to handle. See? They come right off. That's how you peel a tomato on top of it. So see, some terminologies, there's like two of them, two steps that you're doing. See how easy they are to peel? Just have to take some time and it'll work. But you must cut an X on the tail of it. Now the instructions are giving me a bit of a problem. I'm not happy with something they read. I'll actually read it to you and see why I'm a bit confused how they want me to do it. Now you know there are sections in the tomatoes, right? Where the seeds are. But the best way to seed a tomato is to cut it in half like this and squeeze it out. But this is what they want me to do. They want you to blanch, which we just did, and we peeled, we just did that. Now they want seeded and then cut lengthwise into eighths. Now if I go to seed this, now to make it lengthwise, I would have to cut like this, but then I won't be able to get the seeds out. So number one, I'm going to cut them in half and to seed them, and then I'm going to cut them in each half into an eighth. You see, the seeds are like this in little sections. If you cut it this way, you're going to miss some of the sections. But when you do it like this, you can put your hand in there and just pull the seeds out. You don't even have to squeeze it. See? Put my finger in and pull it right out. So you don't have to squeeze it. So it'll be easier to handle. See? So where you see the seeds, you put your finger in and just pull it out like that. You don't have to crush your tomatoes. So you'll get the strips that they want you to have. See? Seems in Christ's time they had purple tomatoes. Those must have been wild tomatoes, and they've cultivated them into what we know today. Now, as soon as the peelings start to separate, do not leave your tomatoes in too long or they'll start to get soggy. It's a balancing act. That's why I stay close by when when I'm blanching tomatoes. And that's one step you learn in canning, which is very important because a lot of people can tomatoes. So the sections of tomatoes, you can put your finger in and pull it out, and then you don't mess your tomatoes up too much. Oh, that tomato burns on that cut. Can I do them all? I think so. That's how you do it, an easy way of doing it. Okay, now they want them cut in strips. Okay, so let me turn you down so you can see this. Put your tomatoes in another bowl, different bowl. You're going to cut them in half and just cut each half into fourths. That's it. Like I said, as you can see, and no, I'm not cutting the core out. I am not one for doing that. We eat them in the house. I put them in the salads. Unless I'm making tomato soup or tomato sauce, I have to because they don't blend up. But this is chunky, so I see no reason why I shouldn't. I got my finger up there because it hurts. But as you can see, it's a very easy dish. It's most of the cooking, like I tell you, and well, I should say inform you, not tell you, is prepping, and that's where most of your time is. Once you get to the cooking part, it really isn't that much. It's just prepping everything and getting it to that point. We did the onions and the garlic. I got the cheese over here. I got the rosemary out. I've got olive oil over there. Parchment paper that we're going to need because we're going to actually wrap these up in paper. Parchment paper, that is. Even if it goes out on the grill, you will wrap it up as well. Or an open fire. You still have to wrap it up. And parchment paper is a special paper that you can cook with. It's not the regular paper you get in the store. I know somebody will try it and say it doesn't work. So make sure it reads parchment. I have the one that's brown, but you can get it bleached white if you want. I don't like that, so I don't use it. I got something on, it came across my, what was it? Where was it? I think on Instagram. And this guy was talking about the chemicals in makeup. I had already warned you about that. I guess he went and investigated and he said, my God. Yeah, that's why you age. You put that makeup on when you're young, but you put it on every day. And you're killing the cells and stuff in your face. And then you're not eating well, so as the organs die, you're still in that body, and that's what you're doing, killing your skin. You have diseases, you're killing the organs, and then finally, you've abused the body so much it just collapses. I don't want to get cut, so I'm going to rinse my knife off and put it on the drain board so I don't get hurt. I think I'm done. No, I am not. I got olives to do next. We've got olives. Tomatoes always make my boards so wet. Okay, let me see if the olives go with the tomatoes. All right, we need 1/4 of a cup of pitted black olives. Now, they recommend Calimente, but I don't like them. In the store, they are so oily and greasy. I personally do not like them. So I'll just buy a can. I bought a can of black olives, and I will use this in place of, I can't stand those. They're just soaking in oil. But we need 1/4 of a cup. Do they want them cut or sliced? They want them pitted and sliced. Okay, so mine are already pitted, but I'm not using theirs. So all I have to do is cut it this way, long ways, and put it in slices. And they want 1/4 of a cup. See, I don't mind olive oil, but when I'm eating something and there's more oil than there is flavor on the, or whatever is in it, I am not gonna like it. And I've tried their olives in the store, and I really don't like them. All that olive oil. I guess some Italians like it, but I don't. They want 1/4 of a cup of these sliced after you've pitted them if you're using Calimente. Because you see me trying to de-seed calamentes and then slice them like this. It would not work. And I think this is enough olives. Alright, put them somewhere. You've got a small bowl. I am trying to find bowls. So we have the tomatoes in one. We have the onion and garlic in another place. We got the cheese. We need 6 ounces of feta cheese. We got the thyme. Okay. Now, I think that's all that I have to do. Of course, I said that yesterday, and I spent all day pulling everything back out. I kept telling him, and it didn't work. All right, we did the onion and garlic. All right, you're gonna need, I already got mine, but I'll read this to let you know what you have to go do. You're gonna need 4 bone-in pork rib chops. You want them about 3/4 of an inch thick, and they have to be 6 ounces each for this recipe. Which I asked the butcher for, and he was very kind to accommodate me to get me what I needed. Now, when I grew up, we had to wash our meat and then pat it dry. We did not take it like this and start cooking with it. I've been to plenty of places and people, and they serve and they do not do this. And you know what's funny? Is they sit there and say, oh, you need a cutting board for your vegetables, you need a cutting board for this, that. Oh, you're not going to use that. You cut meat on it. You cut the meat on it. Yeah, well, we didn't die. But yet you are not concerned about rinsing your meat off. And you don't know who's handled it, where it's been, or anything else. And yet you complain about using the same cutting board for your meat and your vegetables. And yet there are people in their homes that have a butcher block, and they use it as a table to work on. They do their vegetables, their meats, and everything on it, and they scrub it down. We clean up after ourselves. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not done. Well, we made it. We made it through life as children. Of course, 1 or 2 might die, but, you know, other than that, because they don't listen, we didn't die from it. So I think priorities are slightly thrown out the door. I even see chefs don't say anything about the meat not being rinsed. And these are new chefs. But don't you touch that chicken and not wash your hands, which is so funny. I think we've got just about everything ready to do. So let's see where we're at. If there's anything else I have to chop and do. Okay. They say preheat the oven to 350. Okay. They want a large saucepan. Let me get this water out of the way. I will get a saucepan and I'll be right back. My mistake. They're talking about a saute pan. I didn't see the accent on the E. What it is basically a large frying pan. Okay, you're going to put 2 tablespoons into a frying pan, a large frying pan they're recommending because we're going to do all 4 of them at the same time. I have to get mine lit. What you're going to be doing is we're heating this pan up because we want to sear this, and you're going to have to get this really hot. I didn't get it hot for that meatloaf and it stuck. If you sear it and get it hot enough when you put the meat in, or like I did the meatloaf and all, it won't stick once you get the oil in. So I'm heating mine up. Hope I get it hot enough this time, or they're going to be sticking. So remember, they stick. Now, you're going to add salt. I gotta make my own mixture again. I'm running out. You're gonna salt these pork chops, but you don't want to salt. See, I have them right here. All right, but you don't want to go low, because if you go low, you get little spots of salt, and that's not what you want. You actually want to get the salt to spread out level. So what you do is you take some salt, go high, and you get a better spread on your meat. You see, that's how you do it. I'll show you. Now watch it. I don't know if you can see it, but you see how you get a better spread? That's what you want. Let's see if we can do it with the pepper and get that kind of response. Okay. You see? You get it everywhere in this way. You don't waste. But you get the full flavor. Some people who salt, sometimes you end up with a mouthful of salt, and other places you don't. So when you go high, because the gravity doesn't keep it straight like this, because it's lightweight, it spreads out, so you get a wider spread, so you get a better flavor going. Now when we sear these, we're only going to sear them like a minute or 2 on each side, because we are going to be baking these. Those of you who are grilling or on an open fire, you'll be doing it your way, but the whole steps that I'm doing here can be done in the wild if you want an open fire. So we just have to wait for this to heat up. I have this one. It's not bleached, but this is one I use. We're not going anywhere because the chair is there. Okay, I'm going to keep you in the back here, I think, because I need to get these here. No, they're not going. You're going in the front. find out. You hear that? That's what they want. So when you sear them, we're just going about 2 minutes, and that's it. You notice I'm not touching them, because when you touch them, we're going to be turning them over. You do not touch them while they're searing. on each side. That's all you need. So this is what it's going to look like. We'll finish doing it later. You see how nice they are? That's what we want. Because pork, if you overcook it, it's very dry. At the same time, if you undercook it, you could end up with tapeworm. So we have to be very careful. So you try to get that medium. But if you're unsure, I'd rather always cook mine a little longer to be on the safe side. I have to say, searing does make a mess on the stove, so you do have to clean it after searing. I love the way they look. They look really nice. I have to read, so I'll turn this flame down because that's very hot. Okay, we're turning the flame down. Putting the onions and the garlic in, and you're going to saute them real quick on a medium heat. So turn it down because it's really, really hot. whole teaspoon of, they want a teaspoon of fresh rosemary. If you don't have it, use dry. Stir it around because you don't want the rosemary to burn. You just want to get the oil with that lovely smell in it. So don't burn them. Be very careful. Now you're going to add your olives. Maybe make all these bowls and it's all done. And add your tomatoes. And any juice from the meat, pour it in. As you can see, you're not wasting anything here. Add some salt. And we want you to add some more pepper as well. Don't ask me how much, they did not tell me. Just going to cook this a little bit, mix it all up. Going to need a baking sheet. For you with an open fire, you'll do it your way, okay? We're just going to cook this a few minutes and then that's it. Then we're going to start putting this together to go into the oven. You know, when you make things like this, you've got your fruits and you've got your vegetables. Sometimes you have fruits in it as well. You've got your meat. The only thing you're missing is your starch. And we'll get that going after. Okay. That's it. Now, how hard was that? It was mostly all that prepping. And that was the big thing, was to get that done. Okay. Now, I've never done this part, so if I mess up, I'm going to know it. Put you on the floor. I want to make sure you're stable and I don't hit you. You're going to need a dry area because you don't want the paper to get wet. Parchment paper. I need a spoon to spoon this over. This thing's never going to stay in the center. I'm going to have to get some weights. Oh yeah, I'll go there too. Put weights on it to hold it down so I can see what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to do it. Okay. Now they say the trick of this is to make sure that you do not tear this paper. Then they want you to take the tomato stuff that you just made and put over it. Okay. I've got that and I've got that. That's pretty much it. Now they say take feta cheese. They're putting feta cheese over this as well. I'm supposed to roll this up? Right. This paper is some of the most uncooperative paper I have ever dealt with. I can deal with a lot of things, but I hate an uncooperative paper that does not want to listen. Now I'm going to put this under this because I know mine will not stay unless I put it underneath this meat somewhat. And that's what they want you to do. And make sure you do not tear that paper. And that's what they keep on stating through the whole thing. Do not tear the paper. And you're going to be putting them on a baking sheet like this. Maybe I should do it this way, but I just think it's going to leak more. That's what they want. Finger is still quite sore. thought I hold my breath on every last one because I don't know if the last one's going to tear till I get them all done. Oh, I know my husband would have loved this dish, and I couldn't serve it to him because they said, you can't have this, you can't have that. He missed out on all these dishes, a lot of these new dishes that I'm making. It came down, there were only 5 or 6 dishes he could have. I mean, I was just sick and I didn't know medicine was doing it to him. But he would love this dish. Because my husband loved good food. And I know you would find it hard to believe, but I could not make a cup of coffee. When we got my first meal, I burnt the coffee. And he said, Sandy, it's one of the easiest things in the world. And I said, I don't drink coffee. I don't know how to make it. I put like a half a cup of coffee into to every cup of water. I mean, that coffee, I mean, it could have burnt the chest off, the hair off a man's chest. It was so bad. He had to show me how to make coffee because I never made coffee in my life. I didn't have instructions on how to do it. I wasn't talking to my mother. She and I had that out. So let's see how long these are going to cook. We're going to bake them for about 30 minutes, okay? And here mine are, right here. So in they go. So I will see you in 30 minutes and we'll see if these come out. God, I hope they do. I'd hate to go through all this and it didn't. Okay, they want me to use Orzo rice. So it'll be white. Well, you know me. If you've been following me long enough, you know I am not going in that direction. If I have to use white rice, I'm adding vegetable stock and bone broth to pick the nutritional value up. So you need 1.5 cups of Orzo rice, which is basically medium grain. They want to give it a fancy name. I'm not concerned about that. Oh, I hate using white rice. So the only way to get around that, like I said, do it my way. So it'll have more flavor. It might not taste the way they want it. I'm going to do it my way. All right, I put some vegetable stock and some bone broth on. I'm going to light it to get it to start boiling or come to a hot heat. Oh, right box, Sandy. And I will dilute it a bit with water. My rice is not going to be white. I refuse. If it's white, I'm not happy. Okay, that can come. We'll rinse this and we'll get it into the stock. Now, when we're done eating these pork chops, there's going to be bones in them. I'm going to, since my family isn't sick, I'm going to tell them I want the bones. And I'm going to cook down a whole bunch. I've got veal, I got lamb, I got beef, chicken. I'm going to add pork to it. It's going to be a really rich one. And then after I cook them down, the vegetables will go. Throw vegetables in and then just let that cook for a bit. Then I will have a mixture of bone and that, which will be good. See, before when women cooked like this, there was a lot of flavor in all the food. They didn't have to worry. But today, they're taking everything out of the food, so you have to use more and more seasonings. I use a lot of flavoring in mine, so I'm not so quick to have to add a ton of seasonings into my food. All right, we need the cutting board again. We're going to be chopping. I've already read the recipe. You need all the olive oils out. Okay. What do you want? Oh, I am not going to do that. All right, we need a tablespoon of flat parsley chopped. It really doesn't matter which parsley you use. Some people are partial to one or the other. Whatever parsley you have, don't let them tell you you have to use flatness, and you can use the other one, it doesn't matter. Every time I read an Italian recipe, flat parsley. When I read other recipes, they say just parsley. They don't care which one you use as long as you use parsley. That give me a tablespoon? Yeah, that should give me a tablespoon. Because we have curly parsley in our yard until Jasmine ate it all. That we'll put in the stock. I'm just going to slice mine so you can see the pieces instead of chopping them real minced up. Now, dry parsley would not go that well with it because you'll be able to taste the dryness of it, so this one would really require you to use fresh parsley to go into this rice. Haven't done anything yet. Let me see. Okay, now you're moving. Where do I put the lid? I had the lid. Oh. Sorry about that. We gotta get some pepper going again. measuring spoons here somewhere. Yeah. I'm definitely making muffins with that 5-grain cereal. That cereal is so good. For my son to say that that was one of my sons said, Mommy, that's got good flavor. You like that. My other son didn't get any because he was working, so he missed out on it. Okay, because we're only going to need olive oil, parsley, salt, and pepper for the rice as soon as it's done, and that's what I'm waiting for right now. So when it's done and I finish putting this part of the meal together, I will be back. Okay, my rice is done. It's not white, it's beige. But like I told you, I don't like white rice. Now this is a new thing that they're doing when you cook rice. White rice, because they don't do it with brown rice. That's amazing. I don't see anybody doing it with brown rice. Brown rice is a starch. It's very, very, very tacky. So now this is the new thing that they're doing. They're adding a tablespoon of oil to this to keep it from sticking, so it's not clumpy. Not for flavor, but to keep it from sticking. Like you add oil to your pasta because it is a starch, so you stir this around so the chances of it sticking together is a lot less. Now they want you to add black pepper now. I want you to add salt now. And they want you to add the parsley and toss it. But that's where they use the olive oil before you add the other stuff here, is actually to keep it from sticking together. Well, you have to make sure you mix this thoroughly. See, when I make homemade pasta, I sit there and put some oil in it and I toss it and I go back in 15 minutes and I toss it again. I don't serve the pasta steaming hot because it's tacky. I let that oil sit on it for a bit and then I add a little more oil, toss it, and then I serve it. So it's not steaming hot and tacky, but you know, the oil's on it to separate it. I'm just mixing it right now. It is. That's the rice that's going to go with those pork chops. And mine is not white. It's beige because I cooked in it. So a little bit we'll check those pork chops. I will show you in part 2. I think it'll be a short because they're wrapped up in the paper right now and I'm not ready to lay it out. If I lay it out at this point, the pork chops aren't ready. So when I go to pack lunches, I will show you what they look like then. Okay, so that's going to be in about 3 hours, all right? So there'll be a part 2 on this one, just to show you how it looks when you put the whole thing together. All right, see you then.